So Iowa State's Audi Crooks is the most dominant player in women's college basketball. And we all know that. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. However, it is now at the stage where her teams are starting to not let her get the ball as easily. And teams are starting to attack her. We're seeing Iowa State going zone. Teams are finally doing what everybody was watching and like scratching their head being like, why are teams not putting her in the pick and roll? Why are teams just letting her post up? Why are teams putting her in single coverage? And right now, Audi Crooks' Iowa State they were a team where I wasn't the only person that predicted them to go undefeated. She's still averaging 27 points per game in the season. She had 17 points in a loss against Colorado. She is averaging, 21.8 points or something? Is that 21.8 points per game? Over the 4 L's. And some of these losses have been bad. The Cincinnati, nothing will be worse than the Cincinnati one. But like, they got beaten well by West Virginia. And I understand Addie Brown is gone. But they can't beat anyone. Like, obviously Addie Brown played against Baylor in the L. But like, is Addie Brown the best player on this team? Like, I just saw this video from Mike Dadino, and I'm like, just looking at clips of this. Like, the defense is bad. Like, that's not even her fault, that one there, necessarily. That's somebody else. But, like, she kind of just stands there. And it's not even about, like, she's not even looking at the ball. Like, she just kind of stands in the middle of the key and, like, the positional sense isn't there. And to say that, like, Audi Crooks I've seen Audi Crooks move on the offensive end. She can move her feet. I think she's choosing not to. I think she's choosing not to play defense, and I get it. It takes a lot of energy to bang like what she has, like what she does in the post with a lot of players. But like she's leaking out. She's already leaking out in that scenario. I don't even mind her getting hit in the pick and roll, but it's like she gets burned and suddenly she's nowhere near to play. It's like, it is literally like playing 4-on-5 on defense. Like, we call Luka Doncic a cone. It is like playing 4-on-5. But like, it's a tough one because she is the most dominant player. But now she doesn't have an Addie Brown there, who is, by the way, the best when it comes down to it, the best player at feeding Audi Crooks. The best player at feeding Audi Crooks is Addie Brown. The best player at on defense on that team is Addie Brown. The best shooter on that team for these when it matters at times is Addie Brown. Like, we are now looking at a situation where this is a team that's supposed to be good. This is a team that's supposed to be competing. This is a team that is supposed to be there or thereabouts, at least winning the Big 12. They haven't won a game in Big 12 play. Like, this is a team that is supposed to be a top tier team in the Big 12. They haven't won a game in Big 12 play. Like, that is scary. They haven't won a single game in Big 12 play. And for me, that is a concern. It is absolutely a concern for this team because, look, at the end of the day, they are, like, the goal for Iowa State is to make an Elite Eight, is to make a Sweet 16 at the worst. And you go and you beat Iowa to start the year. Like, early on in the year, you win the Iowa State matchup. I still blame Jan Jensen for that game. But, like, you win that matchup and you win it comfortably. Whereas now it's looking like Iowa State have been exposed. Like, they were tipped to go undefeated. If they had beaten Baylor, like, they have one more difficult game against TCU. Like, they would have full strength with the way they were expected to beat Texas Tech. They were expected to at least run TCU close. Like, there were talks of them potentially going out undefeated. And it was coming, by the way. The loss was coming. They only beat Kansas by 3 points. They nearly choked it against Iowa. The loss was coming. But they got themselves up to 8 in the nation. They're going to be unranked. Well, duh. They've just lost 4 games in a row. They're going to be unranked. And Audi Crooks has gone from the favorite for National Player of the Year. And if anyone was saying, oh, but like that was never should have been a conversation. But it's like, well, I mean it when I say it. Like, yeah, up to a point, absolutely it should have been a conversation because she was putting up 30 points a game. She was putting up more points than minutes. They were like comparing her stats to like players all time. And she ended up being in terms of like the all time, it was like her and Joel Embiid in terms of like her efficiency and her dominance. Like she was putting together one of the most dominant stretches of basketball we'd ever seen at the collegiate level, man or woman. So like she was rightfully so in those conversations. But you also have to say, you have to be honest here. When you go into those conversations, when you're being compared to the greatest players to ever play a sport, you then have to be held to that standard, which for me, Audi Crooks has not been playing at. I don't believe she's been playing at a standard at a good enough level. I don't believe, based on what we expect Audi Crooks to do, based on what we have been watching, and based on the reputation she's had, like we have to expect that we rightfully should expect that Audi Crooks should be is being held to that standard, because it can't work both ways. Like it can't work both ways, because either Audi Crooks isn't going to be a pro and she's just a collegiate player and that's kind of going to be it. She's going to play in some overseas leagues, or Audi Crooks is a pro. Audi Crooks is this dominant player. And when we're talking purely basketball wise, we have to be allowed to evaluate a player. We have to be allowed, and this is where criticism comes into it. Audi Crooks, one of the worst defenders I've ever seen. Like, there are levels to bad defense. And like, for me, there's like, I'm trying to get bad defenders. There's like the people there's like the mediocre defenders that have reputations of being your good defenders, your Paiges, your mediocre defenders who have reputations of being bad defenders, your Caitlins, who are kind of the same level. Then you kind of keep going lower and lower and lower to these players are just too undersized to be good defenders in, like, I was trying to think off the top of my head, but it's like they try, like a Peyton Pritchard. And then you go and get to your Trae Youngs, where no matter how much they try, they're fucked. Then you got your Luka Doncic's, the modern day version of Luka Doncic. And then there's like 17 different levels, and then you get to Audi Crooks. Like, if she can figure it out on the defensive end, and it's about two things: positioning and effort. Like, she's not that slow on her feet. It's about positioning and effort. And it's not even about stepping up. It's that whenever she steps up, like, you can, if you've ever played ball, like you all know, the guy that's like, your team is in the full court press. Your team is told to be in the press, but they just don't want to press. So they basically just run past the offensive player and let them burn them. So it looks like they're pressuring, but they just go and get burnt. And then they kind of just jog back on defense. That's what it seems like. When she steps up, she oversteps up so that the ball's past her. And it's like, oh, well, I can't recover. I'm too far away. It's like just positional sense. Like, and if she figures out the defense, she's that dominant on the offensive end. Like, she could be a Bree Jones level offensive player in the WNBA as a pro. But like, there are 17 levels between her and Bree Jones on defense. And that's the thing. Like, that's what it's going to come down to, is that she is going to be a pro on the offensive end. There's a reason why she didn't play for Team USA in America Cup. She's got to improve on the defensive end. She just has to. Otherwise, Iowa State are not going to win many games.